Good afternoon. My name is Judge Gloria Rincones, and I am your judge of the 445th District Court. Pursuant to the Office of Court Administration in the Texas Supreme Court, we are conducting these proceedings via Zoom in light of the COVID-19 situation that we are finding ourselves in. I wish to admonish all the participants who are participating or watching these proceedings that the only recording is the official court reporter's record of my court. If you are to record these proceedings, you will be held in contempt. So please do not record these proceedings. Furthermore, the chat option on the options bar is not to be used unless this court grants you permission to do so. In addition, if anyone needs to talk to their witness or client, you must ask for permission to be put in a breakout room. I hope all these instructions are clear. And at this time, I will call cause number 2019-12345, styled in the interest of PH, a minor child, and it involves Helic versus Avalos. At this time, counsel, make your appearances and identify yourselves for the record and state who you represent.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. My name is Mac Pierre-Louis, and I represent Mr. Adam Fake Helic. He's a petitioner and the move-on in this suit in today's temporary orders hearing.
Your Honor, my name is Shelley Simon, and I represent Claudia Fake Avalos, the respondent. Also present is Ms. Avalos' witness, Ms. Angela Nix, and Ms. Shelley Cervantes, the interpreter for Ms. Avalos.
My name is Maria Bitoon. I'm an Assistant Attorney General representing the state of Texas.
All right, I understand there's an interpreter present. Ms. Interpreter, if you could please raise your right hand. Ms. Interpreter, if you would swear to do a proper interpretation from English to Spanish and Spanish to English pursuant to your training and experience, so help you God.
I do.
All right. Anyone who will be testifying in today's hearing, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony that you will give in these proceedings will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do, yes.
Yes, ma'am, Your Honor.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, very well. At this time, are there any pretrial matters that need to be presented to the court before we proceed?
Yes, Your Honor. The respondent has brought a witness, and for that reason, we would like to invoke the rule.
All right, very well. Ms. Angela Nix, I understand you are the witness in this case?
Yes, ma'am, Your Honor.
Ms. Nix, at this time, you will be moved into a waiting room where you are to remain while these proceedings are ongoing. You are not to discuss this case with anybody. You will only be able to speak to the attorneys involved in this case. If you are to be found to have violated this rule, you could be held in contempt or your testimony will be stricken from these proceedings. Do you understand that, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
At this time, you will be placed in a waiting room.
Your Honor, we file and exchange our exhibits as per the court's policies and procedures. For the record, we have stipulated to admission into evidence of pre-marked petitioners exhibits 1 and 2 and respondent exhibits 1 and 3.
Mr. Pierre-Louis and Ms. Simon, are these your agreed evidence and do you wish the court to consider them?
Yes, Judge. Me and Ms. Bitoon, we agreed to these pieces as stipulated.
Yes, Judge. The Attorney General's office agrees to all of that.
All right, very well. Then at this time, the court will admit into evidence petitioners exhibits 1 and 2 and respondents exhibits 1 and 3 as stipulated by the parties. Okay, if there are no more further pretrial matters, Mr. Pierre-Louis, you may begin with your opening statement at this time.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, in this case, we have a father who is attempting to reduce his current child support, and we are trying to make sure that he is not going to keep on paying an enormous amount that he just can't afford. The man has to live. And so the evidence is going to show that he lost his job due to no fault of his own, and that he is warranted to receive a minimum wage child support obligation order. And so at this time, I'd like to call my first witness.
You may call your first witness. Proceed.
And the respondent waives opening, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Simon. I was going to ask you about your opening when your time came, but thank you for waiving at this time.
Okay.
Mr. Pierre-Louis, you may proceed.
Yes, sir, please state your full name for the judge.
My name is Adam Hellick.
And what is your relationship to the respondent in this suit?
She's the mother of my child.
Okay. And why did you ask me to file this request for temporary orders?
Well, I called you because I realized that I don't have the kind of money that I used to have to pay child support. And at this time, my income has dropped so low that I'm unable to pay it.
Okay. And, Your Honor, before we proceed, I'd like you to take judicial notice of the underlying order that's in this court's file. And it's the agreed order from a couple years ago that the parties had done where my client was ordered to pay child support.
The court will take additional notice of the underlying court order at this time. You may share the underlying court order.
Okay, Your Honor, I'd like to have the court clerk bring us down to page 18, where it addresses the obligation. And I'll just read this for the court. It says, child support. It is ordered that Adam Fake Hellick shall pay Claudia Fake Avalos for the support of PH in the amount of $1,500 per month, with the first payment being due and payable on January 1, 2019, and the like payment being due and payable on the first day of each month thereafter, until the first month following the date of the earliest occurrence. Mr. Hellick, at the time that this underlying order was done, what kind of work were you doing?
I was an engineer for a company known as Acme.
Okay, and how much money were you grossing each month when you were working for Acme?
I'd say I was earning approximately $10,000 per month.
Okay, and so is that the amount that the $1,500 was based on?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, and right now, how much are you making right now?
Right now, I'm making maybe around $1,000, $1,200 a month gross.
And how much do you say you're making exactly right this minute?
Right this minute, it fluctuates a little bit, but it's about $1,200 a month.
All right, and so why is that? Why are you making this little bit of money right now?
Well, because I lost my job with Acme.
When did you lose your job?
Well, seems like my boss has been out to get rid of me for some time, and he found a reason to do so with all these pandemic issues that are going on.
Okay, and was that around March 1st, 2020?
Yes, that sounds right.
Okay, so were you wrongfully terminated?
I think I was, yes.
Okay. And you mentioned that you're making only about $1,200 a month, correct?
That's correct.
Other than that, is there any other money, any other income you're bringing in to your household?
Yes, I am earning a little bit of extra income from some side jobs, but they go in to make up that $1,200 per month.
Okay. And you provided the court some recent paycheck stubs, right, to evidence these side jobs?
That's correct. Yes, I did.
Okay, Your Honor, I'd like to draw the court's attention to Exhibit P2, which was recently admitted into evidence by stipulation, and which are copies of the petitioner's recent check stubs.
You may show Exhibit P2.
Thank you, Clerk. Okay, Mr. Hellick, what kind of job is this that you were doing?
Well, I was an engineer for Acme. I did engineer work.
Okay, but for these receipts right here, what kind of work were you doing?
Oh, I'm sorry. Here with these that you're showing, I was consulting.
And what kind of technology or what kind of work is this consulting?
It's consulting on some oil and gas services.
Okay, and these small amounts of money you've made, I see Brad Pitt paid you $300, Barack Obama paid you $140, and Lizzo paid you $60. Is this normal and routine for the amount of money you might be making in this job?
Do you mean that this is a normal amount for the type of work I'm doing?
Correct. Might we expect more than these, or is this it?
This is a low amount for what is usual, and also there's not much of it either. Not much of this kind of work.
Okay, thank you, Judge. We can end this screen share.
All right.
Are you currently looking for work?
Oh, yes, I am.
And have you found anything?
No, I haven't.
Okay, what could you tell the court today to evidence the fact that you've been looking for work actively?
No, nobody. I mean, other than the work that I'm doing right now, the little consulting jobs that don't pay very much, landing a salary job, a full-time job, has been very difficult because nobody's hiring right now.
Okay, so we understand how much you used to make. We understand how much you are making right now. What are you asking the court to do today for you?
I'm asking the court to reduce child support from $1,500 down to, I think, as low as minimum wage, because I believe that I'm making at approximately minimum wage right now.
Okay, and we've calculated your child support based on the minimum wage presumption, correct?
Yes, we have.
Okay, and Your Honor, I'd like to draw the court's attention to Exhibit P1, which is already in evidence as the petitioner's child support calculations.
You may share it at this time.
Okay, and Mr. Hellick, based on our calculations, when we put in the average minimum wage, $1,026.67, you and I came up with your child support being $227.64, correct?
That is correct.
And is that the amount you're asking for the court to order today?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and Judge, that screen share may stop.
Proceed.
And if the judge was to order that you pay this $227 a month, are you willing to have this amount be ordered just on a temporary basis?
Yes. Yes, temporary basis would be good, but I don't know how long this is going to go on. So does that mean that it'll be for as long as I'm earning as little money as I am now?
Well, just answer the question. If the judge was to order that you pay $227 a month, will you agree? Or is it okay with you that that only be for a temporary basis until it goes back up to another amount later?
Sure. That'd be all right. I'd be okay with that.
Okay, I'll pass this witness, Judge.
Ms. Simon, do you have any questions of this witness?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Hellick, isn't it true that you were fired from your job?
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess I was fired from my job, but I don't think I was fired for a good purpose, a good reason.
Okay, what was the relationship like with you and your boss?
Well, it got
Objection, Judge. Objection. Don't answer. Objection, Judge, as to relevance.
Overruled. Proceed.
It has not been good over the years.
Okay. Could you elaborate? What was the relationship with your boss like?
He didn't like me.
Okay. Isn't it true that approximately 1 week prior to March 1st layoff, you were caught stealing a company computer from your boss's office?
That is not true.
Okay. Are you not currently in criminal court dealing with this theft charge?
I am currently in criminal court, but as I said, those allegations are false, and I expect to be acquitted.
Okay. Mr. Hellick, isn't the real reason you're out of work is because you were fired due to you stealing from the employer? Please don't forget that you're under oath.
No, that is not true. That is not what happened.
Okay, let's move on. You testified earlier you have a little income coming in. You've only made $500 consulting since March 1st?
Well, yes, approximately $500, correct.
Okay. Do you own a rental house that you lease out?
I do.
And isn't it true that you have some real estate income coming in?
Yeah, I have rental money coming in each month from the rental house that I have. Yes.
Okay, Your Honor, I'd like to draw your attention to Exhibit R3, which was already admitted into evidence, Facebook post of a house for lease.
All right, you may share Exhibit R3.
Mr. Hellick, is this your Facebook post?
It looks like it, yes.
Is this you sharing property you owned for lease back in November 2019?
It looks like what the realtor was sharing, but yes, I mean, I gave her I asked her to list the property.
Now, were you able to lease this home?
I was.
And when you leased it, what did you lease it for?
Gosh, I want to say I leased it for about $3,000 per month.
Pass this witness.
All right, very well. Ms. Bethune, do you have any questions of this witness?
No questions, Judge. I have no questions.
Mr. Pierre-Louis, any redirect?
Your Honor, before we go to redirect, I'd like to confer with my client just for a minute. I need to ask him a couple questions.
All right, you have 30 seconds, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Judge.
You may break into a breaking room at this time.
Time's really costing me a lot of money, man. Can't you speed?
All right, we're back on the record. All parties are present. All attorneys are present, and they're back from their meeting room. All right, very well. At this time, Mr. Pierre-Louis, do you have any redirect questions of Mr. Hellick?
Yes, Judge, just one question. Mr. Hellick, this rental property that you own, okay, the one where you said earlier that you're bringing in about $3,000, Do you actually take home $3,000 from it every month?
Well, no, she asked me what it was rented for, and it is rented for $3,000, but I don't take home $3,000, no.
Okay, do you have other people that you're paying from that money?
Yes, there's people who I have to pay the realtor, I have to pay the lawn care people. There's always maintenance that's done on the property. I'd say all in all, I take home about $1,000 from that $3,000 in rent.
Okay, so earlier when you had testified that you're bringing home about $1,200, that was between the rental property and the consulting work that you do with Lizzo, Barack Obama, and Brad Pitt?
That's correct. Yes, that's correct. And, the other thing that needs to be considered, too, is that, when I was this thing was up for rental, it was vacant. So, I could lose renters at any time and not even have the $1,000 coming in.
Okay, thank you so much for that clarification. Okay, pass this witness, Judge.
Ms. Simon, any recross?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Bichun, any additional questions of this witness?
A few questions, Judge. Mr. Hellick, do you have any receipts showing your rental property income?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Do you have any receipts from your rental property income? Did you bring any of those receipts?
No, I did not. I did not.
Okay. Did you bring any receipts showing your monthly cost expenses of what you spent each month on your rental property?
I have them written down, but I don't have them right with me. I can tell you what they are, though.
Ask the witness, Judge.
Very well, Mr. Pierre-Louis, any additional questions of your witness?
No further questions, Judge. And we rest, but I'd like to reserve some additional time for closing arguments later.
Very well. Ms. Simon, you may call your first witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. I call Claudia Avalos. Please state your full name for the court.
Yo llamo a Claudia Avalos. Por favor, dice su nombre completo para la corte.
Claudia Fake Avalos.
Claudia Fake Avalos.
What is your relationship to the child, the subject of this suit?
¿Cuál es su relación con el niño, el sujeto de ese caso?
Soy su mamá.
I am his mother.
How much child support have you received since January of 2020?
¿Cuánto apoyo del niño ha recibido desde el enero del 2020?
Cero, absolutamente nada.
Zero, absolutely nothing.
Have you been providing for your children since January of 2020?
¿Has proveído para sus hijos desde enero 2020?
Yo he estado proveyendo por mis hijos, pedí estampillas y también a través de la iglesia me han dado ropa y comida.
I have food stamps, and since COVID-19 reached us, I have been picking up food and clothing from the church.
Have you talked to Mr. Hellick about child support?
¿Usted ha hablado con el señor Hellick sobre el apoyo del niño?
No en persona, lo he llamado y le he mandado textos.
Not in person, but I have called him and I've sent him texts.
And how does he respond?
¿Y cómo responde él?
No me responde, simplemente pasa por mi casa en su Mercedes con la novia, pero no me contesta nada.
He doesn't respond to me. He just passes in front of my apartment in his Mercedes with his new wife, but he never responds to me.
Has he talked to you about his rental property?
¿Él ha hablado con usted sobre su propiedad que renta?
No, pero yo sé que sí le dan bastante dinero por esa propiedad.
No, but I know that he makes a lot of money from that property.
Do you have any reason to believe his income has decreased?
¿Usted tiene alguna razón por creer que ha bajado mucho sus ingresos?
No, para nada.
No, absolutely not.
Okay, I pass the witness, Your Honor.
Mr. Pierre-Louis, do you have any questions of this witness?
Yes, Judge, just a couple questions. Miss Avalos, have you actually seen my client, Mr. Hellick, driving a Mercedes-Benz?
Señora Ábalos, ¿realmente has visto con sus propios ojos mi cliente manejando un Mercedes?
No, pero mi amiga lo ha visto y me contó.
No, but my friend has seen him and she told me.
Have you actually gone yourself to his rental property, ma'am?
¿Y usted ha visitado la propiedad que él renta?
No, personalmente no he ido, pero sí lo vi a las fotos que él puso en Facebook.
No, personally, I haven't seen it, but I have seen the pictures that he's put on Facebook.
And are you personally familiar with the associated costs surrounding him owning this rental property?
¿Y usted está familiar con los gastos asociados con tener una propiedad así?
Personalmente no.
Personally, no.
Ma'am, how many kids do you have?
Señora, ¿cuántos niños tiene usted?
En total 3, incluyendo el que tengo con el señor.
Altogether, I have 3. That's including the one that I have with this gentleman.
Do you receive child support from the other father?
¿Usted recibe el apoyo de los niños del otro padre?
Sí.
Yes.
Ma'am, do you currently work?
¿Y en este momento está trabajando?
En este momento no.
At this moment, no.
When was the last time you worked?
¿Cuándo es la última vez que usted trabajó?
Aproximadamente 1 año.
About a year ago.
So, isn't it true? Are you just living off of the child support that you receive from these men?
Objection, Your Honor. It's not relevant how she supports herself, but only her children. And also objection, counsel is harassing the witness.
Translator, interpret.
La pregunta del abogado es que es verdad que usted está viviendo solamente por medio del apoyo de los niños que usted recibe. Y, y había una objeción de la abogada Shelley Simon, que ella dijo que eso no es relevante, cómo usted apoya a usted misma.
The objection is sustained. The objection is sustained as to relevance.
No further questions, Judge.
All right, very well. Ms. Bichon, do you have any questions of this witness?
Just a few.
Sorry, Bitune.
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Avalos, have you been receiving your child support from Mr. Hellick?
Señora Avalos, ¿ha recibido el apoyo del niño del señor Hellick?
No.
No.
Has he given you direct payments, direct cash outside of what he has paid you in the child support disbursement unit?
El señor le ha dado efectivo directamente, pagos en efectivo directamente fuera de lo que él paga por medio del Estado?
No.
No.
Judge, I'd like to reference the court's attention to Intervener's Exhibit 1, which is the authenticated copy of the Attorney General's financial activity report as of yesterday. If the clerk can show that.
All right. Is this one of the documents that were stipulated to be admitted into evidence? Mr. Pierre-Louis?
Yes, Judge.
Ms. Simon?
Yes, fine, Judge.
Very well. Let's share interveners AG's Exhibit 1 through 3.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ms. Avalos, is it your testimony that the alleged outstanding balance listed here for $5,000 is an accurate amount of what Mr. Hellick owes you as of today?
Señora Ábalos, ¿es su testimonio que el balance que tiene aquí de $5,000 es la cantidad correcta de lo que le debe a usted el señor Hellick?
Sí.
Yes.
Ask the witness, Judge.
All right. Ms. Simon, do you have any additional questions of your witness?
Yes, Your Honor. I'd like to call Ms. Angela Nix, my client's witness who's in the waiting room.
All right, very well. At this time, let's have Ms. Nix be removed from the waiting room. Ms. Nix, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, Your Honor.
All right, very well. Ms. Simon, you may proceed with your witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Nix, will you please state your full name for the record?
Angela Nix.
And how do you know Mr. Hellick?
Oh, I know that deadbeat through my best friend, Claudia.
Objection, Judge. Can the witness be instructed to refrain from calling my client a deadbeat when testifying?
Ms. Nix, I know we are conducting these proceedings through Zoom. However, this is still a court of law, and I am going to instruct you not to call any witness any names. Am I clear, Ms. Nix?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Proceed, Ms. Simon.
Now, have you seen Mr. Hellick in the past month?
Yes, I saw him driving through my neighborhood.
And what was he driving?
That deadbeat, I'm sorry, Mr. Hellick, he was in a brand new Mercedes-Benz S-Class, and now, of course, he's saying he has no money.
And how do you know that he was in a Mercedes-Benz S-Class?
Well, I filmed him. I recognize what one looks like. I saw a suspicious vehicle coming down my street because we don't normally have Benz S-Classes driving around. And when I looked closer, I saw Mr. Hellick behind the wheel. I quickly put on my sandals and my bathrobe, and I jumped in my little buggy and raced after him to record the car. I mean, if this guy was going to be riding around in a Benz while his kids starved, I wanted to get proof and text it to my buddy Claudia.
Okay. I'm showing you what has been pre-marked as Exhibit R2. Is this the video that you recorded?
Yes, ma'am.
And when did you make the recording?
April 15th of this year at 7:00 p.m.
Okay. Does the recording accurately represent the scene you recorded on April 15th, 2020?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I offer R3 into evidence.
Objection, Judge. We've gotten a chance to look at this recording, but in no way does it actually depict my clients. It's just a random video of a vehicle that's racing down the road.
Overruled. This time you may share your exhibit. There'll be exhibit R2. Clerk, if you can please share that exhibit. Simon, proceed with your next question.
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Nix, now, how did you know that it was Mr. Hellick in the car?
Well, because I recognized him from Claudia's, and I saw him behind the wheel that day.
Was there any identifying features that you could tell it was him? Is there any way that you could positively ID him?
Well, I can certainly identify him as being the same person that's reflected in the video shot here as Adam Hellick with the gray hair and that really smug look on his face.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Nix. Now, do you know the Kelly Blue Book value of that Mercedes S-Class?
Oh, girl, I think those things are like, I don't know, $75,000 or so.
Thank you, Ms. Witt. Ms. Nix. I pass the witness, Your Honor.
Ms. Betune, do you have any questions of this witness?
Sure, Judge. Ms. Nix, how do you know the book value of S-Class Mercedes?
Oh, shoot. When I saw that he'd been driving down the street with that thing, I went the very next day to the Mercedes lot and I looked at some prices on those little devils, and they're running upwards of $60,000, $75,000.
Do you know what year vehicle that Mr. Hellick is driving?
Oh, they looked like it was a brand new one.
So you went to Mercedes, picked out a vehicle that looked like the vehicle that Mr. Hellick was driving and figured that's it. That's the same car Mr. Hellick was driving.
The S-Class, yes, ma'am.
Not an SEL, not an SL, the S-Class.
Yes, ma'am.
Pass the witness, Judge.
Any additional questions, Mr. Pierre-Louis?
Judge, I'm not really sure what to say. I would have objected to the whole lot of questioning, but I think this theatrics speaks for itself. No further questions.
Very well. Anything further, Ms. Simon?
No, Your Honor. We rest.
All right, very well. Mr. Pierre-Louis, do you have any rebuttal witnesses?
No, Judge. He was my only witness.
All right, very well. At this time, I will entertain very brief closing arguments. Mr. Pierre-Louis?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, what we heard today was a very simple explanation of a man who is unable to pay his child support because he does not make the income he used to make. He used to gross at least $10,000 a month. Everyone knew that. He signed an agreed order to pay it. And for the most part, he did pay it. Sure, he fell behind a little bit, but guess what? The child is just fine. And we'll take care of the back arrears if there are any. The issue here today is what should the child support be going forward? And it's clear, as he testified, he's lost his job. He simply needs the opportunity to have a reduced amount of child support down to the minimum wage. $227 a month is what he's asking for. And we are asking, Judge, pleading with you to please order that he pay the $227 a month beginning June 1st, 2020. And he will even agree to do it temporarily. Once he gets a job, he may be able to pay more. But at this time, it's COVID-19 period. He's got to eat too. So we just ask the court to reduce his child support amount to that amount. Thank you.
Ms. Simon, brief closing.
Your Honor, we've all heard today that Mr. Hellick is bringing in income. He does have rental properties, and he's not been entirely truthful with the amount of money that he's been bringing in. And so we ask the court to consider that this time in coming up with the amount of child support. That's it, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Vichin.
Yes, Judge. Mr. Hellick didn't bring any information regarding his wages from the rental income. I believe that it's his duty to bring that information if he's asking the court to modify the child support. However, the state does think that Mr. Hellick no longer has his current job with AAG, but we don't know what to set it because Mr. Hellick didn't bring any of those wage information. The state leaves it up to the court's discretion on what the new current child support is. If anything, it should be set based at $3,000 per month, his rental income. And it also appears that he has not really made any changes with his lifestyle, being that he's still driving the S-Class Mercedes. Ms. Nix testified to be worth over $70,000.
Very well. These are temporary orders. The court is obviously very well aware of the COVID-19 situation and very well aware of the fact that people are losing their jobs and are having a difficult time generating income. However, I do not have enough information that was presented to this court to make a determination as to the appropriate amount of the modification. In light of the fact that this is temporary orders, the court will reduce the child support amount to $1,000 a month beginning June 1st, However, because there are arrears testified to since January of this year through May of this year totaling $5,000, the court will order a judgment entered in the amount of $5,000 and order Mr. Hellick to pay $250 towards those arrears beginning June 1st. The court will entertain any additional information that either side wishes to provide to this court and any future proceedings for any future modifications of this temporary orders. Otherwise, this matter will be set for final hearing 6 months from today. Anything further, Mr. Pierre-Louis?
No, thank you, Judge. I would just have to ask, am I drafting this order?
Yes, sir. Please prepare the order and submit it to Ms. Simon for her review and Ms. Betune for her review before submitting it to this court for final signature. You have 10 days.
Thank you, Judge.
Anything further, Ms. Simon?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Ms. Betune, anything further?
Nothing further, Judge. Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a great afternoon and good luck to the parties.